On October 3rd, 2025, Dave Chappelle happened to be at the Riyadh Comedy Festival in Saudi Arabia. And of course, Dave Chappelle is a funny guy and he's also polarizing. So he took it upon himself to talk about the Charlie Kirk situation. He says right now in America, they say that if you talk about Charlie Kirk, you'll get canceled. I don't know if that's true, but I'm going to find out. He also added, it's easier to talk here than it is in America. Now, of course, that is pretty much all that he said. But just saying that got a lot of people upset.
However, I have complete disdain for these comedians who were paid by Saudi Arabia, who had to negotiate what they'd be allowed to talk about, and then had the gall to criticize America.
Well, wait, there's more.
It's easier to talk here than it is in America, the comedian told an audience at the Riyadh Comedy Festival. I'm just so sick of this because homie had to negotiate with Saudi Arabia on what he'd be allowed to talk about.
I believe this is URL Tim. He's a very popular streamer here on the right. And he's basically saying, how is it that Dave Chappelle is going around criticizing America, taking money from Saudi Arabia? He felt that this was hypocritical. I can understand it. But again, we got to be transparent. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? That's the old saying. So he's mad that Charlie Kirk was being criticized, or at least made fun of. However, isn't this Charlie Kirk?
The greatest trip I ever took was to Israel, and the second greatest trip I ever took was to Israel, and I've only been there twice. I'm a huge supporter of the Holy Land, of Judea and Samaria, and up against the terrorist organizations, Hezbollah, and the Palestinian Authority.
Wait a minute. That's Charlie Kirk saying, I stand with Israel. That's Charlie Kirk. So wait a minute. Charlie Kirk is standing with Israel, but I'm pretty sure when he's saying this, he ain't doing it for free, is he? But then, right before he passed, this is also Charlie Kirk.
Look, I'm afraid because, again, I want civilization to win. I want the West to win. I don't want the Islamo-fascist barbarians to storm the gates of Jerusalem. I want the holy sites protected. I believe in the Holy Land. I love that Jesus walked on water there and rose from the dead and preached in the Mount of Beatitudes. Like, I feel the connection to Israel. But at the same time, simultaneously, when the hostile reaction is that now Meghan and Charlie are enemies, right? Boy, I'll tell you, like you're not gonna, I wouldn't say lose, but you will weaken and just basically deflate two of your strongest advocates if that continues.
Uh-oh. Now that's Charlie Kirk talking about the fact that, look, y'all need to start coming after me because I criticized you. Because you about to lose me. But then wait, there's more.
They say that Charlie Kirk was offered an infusion of $150 million by Israel. Okay? That would double Israel's budget, or excuse me, Turning Point USA's budget.
But that's Nick Fuentes, an opponent of Charlie Kirk. Now, he's saying that Charlie Kirk had an issue with Israel and that Netanyahu was willing to offer $150 million. Now, obviously, this could be a rumor. We don't know. But we do know that Turning Point USA was being funded by Israel, at least part of it. Now, this is kind of what I want to get to because Charlie Kirk can be funded by Israel. And if you ask a lot of people on the right, they feel like Israel, they're forcing the United States to enforce a whole bunch of stuff. Like, for example, there was a situation where I saw Myron on the podcast with, I believe, Jake Shields. And on that podcast, if you want to be a contractor for the state of Tennessee or certain states, you have to claim or say, I stand with Israel. Now, in that same podcast, you can criticize the United States. All right. You can do so. You can criticize the president. But criticizing Israel in America would likely get you fired. It could get you all sorts of things, okay? So at the same time, he got a problem criticizing the American government with Dave Chappelle because Dave Chappelle is talking about our country. But right here in our country, or in America, you have people on the right that were upset with Charlie Kirk taking money from Israel. Again, this is not my fight. Again, I have voted Republican on geopolitical issues. I don't vote on, for the most part. My issues that I think about politically, for me, only relate to the black community. I vote only on black community politics, or at least recommend to vote on black community politics. But if Tim doesn't think that this is bad, it gets worse.
About 48 hours before Charlie Kirk died, Charlie informed people at Turning Point, as well as Jewish donors and a rabbi, that he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause outright, okay? Charlie was done. He said it explicitly, that he refused to be bullied anymore by the Jewish donors. Can you guys answer? Did he express that? Did he also express that he wanted to bring me, Candace Owens, back because he was standing up for himself?
Uh-oh, there go Candace Owens. There go Candace Owens on her BS. All right, she ain't mentioning Dave Chappelle. She ain't mentioning none of that. But watch what else she say.
Then did he, just 48 hours later, conveniently catch a bullet to the throat before our onstage reunion could happen?
So there she is implying that Israel is the people who did it. I don't think that's the case, but that's what she's saying. Then even normal people are saying the same thing.
Israel called Charlie Kirk over there to re-kiss the wall and re-pledge to Israel. And he said no. We all know what happens to anybody who tell Israel no.
So again, I want to get back to this with the whole Tim Pool guy. Tim Pool is definitely a supporter or is being paid by Israel, and that's fine, okay? Come after Dave Chappelle with some form of proof, all right? Like, if you want to say that, because there are people who could obviously say on the right, hey, Tim, you're being paid by Israel, so how can you call somebody out? Just like Charlie Kirk was being paid by Israel. And to be honest, he's a comedian, but what did he say? Who did he mock? And so now it's like, he didn't mention Israel. He didn't mention anything. He just said what he said, okay? He didn't talk down on the man, didn't talk down on the man's family, didn't say he deserved to pass away. Now, is it insensitive? Yes. But Dave Chappelle has been insensitive to a lot of people. What about the transgender community? I mean, that was, if you want to talk about being insensitive, he was really on one. Now, a lot of people believe what he was talking about. But then again, you don't want to call out your own stuff. And this is why I don't like the Brandon Tatum thing. And even me, like I said, I can get involved in that. You know, holding up my own position so much that I'm standing on my position, and then somebody that I'm accusing of, I'm doing the same thing. It's no different here. You know, and Dave Chappelle got every right to criticize what's going on anywhere in the world. He didn't disrespect America. And if you got a problem with Saudi Arabia over any other country, why? There is nobody on the far right or moderate right in the Middle East complaining about Saudi Arabia or Qatar that I hear. There's only one country or two maybe, but the one that I hear that people got a problem with, we all know which one that is. When you go in and you listen to the conversations about what's going on in geopolitics, it's never Saudi Arabia. Now, if you live in the Middle East, it might be about Saudi Arabia, but we all know who they're talking about. And what I'm gonna say is policing people and trying to force them into your agenda. What you guys don't understand is that you only make it worse. You're not making it better. The best thing that you can do is just not say anything. It's just the automatic best thing that you can do. Leave it alone. Because all that's happening right now in America, and then you're seeing these guys becoming more extreme by the day. I'm talking about, I'd never seen a day where I would see, let me say, anti-Semitism growing in America like it is now. It's growing to, I mean, I know they're changing the rules on it, but if you want to say like the heights, according to what you would see, I mean, people openly content creators, like risking losing their YouTube channel, like the Hodge twins, Fresh and Fit. I mean, now you have guys who actually partly may have been demonetized for talking about Israel. And then now they're going to these alternative channels, okay, talk about some of these things. And so, you know, when you look at what's going on with Tim URL, it's like, look, man, you already have chosen a side, and that's cool. But to come after Dave Chappelle, I think I know why. Let me read back here, okay? Here's what he said. Dave Chappelle offered a code phrase, watch should know, a phrase he would never say under normal conditions, so that if he ever said it, people would know he was being muzzled or controlled. That phrase, I stand with Israel. Okay, now we understand now, right? So if we want to talk about free speech, then if you can't openly criticize any government without backlash, it's not free speech. And so these influencers are being paid a lot of money to stand on either side. Again, it's up to them. They do what they want to do. Brandon Tatum, Kirk, you have some people who are anti-Israel, and they're still getting paid too, if it's not directly by the consumers or whoever else. You have people like Candace Owens. And again, I'm not here for the geopolitics, but content creators getting involved in these politics are very, very dangerous. Even Aiden Ross said, look, he's out of politics. And to be frankly, I'm in the black community political thing to a certain degree, but no. But I'm only talking about this because, you know, you want to bring up about Dave Chappelle, and you're being hypocritical yourself. People would even say that, Tim Pool, you're exposing yourself. You're bought and paid for. That really you're not even rocking with America. You're rocking with another country first. That's what they're going to say. All right? So these guys got attack dogs, family. Like, they have, you know, attack dogs. And this is why I'm going to tell you another thing too. Brandon Tatum. Brandon Tatum's another guy that is really playing it thin right now. See, when it was okay to talk about the blacks. Like, that was fire, right, for them. Talk about the blacks. It's okay. You'll get your money. You'll get on. Now, what's happening in today's game is that is dying down, right? So it's not a whole lot of money in just talking about blacks. You can't just talk about blacks all the time and get old black fatigue. You know, the Hodge twins, I mean, they do it, and whites do like that content. But if you really want to get into a deeper market, just be geopolitical. Talk about Palestine. Talk about Israel. Talk about Russia. Talk about who Donald Trump is or is not supporting. And then you grow your audience big enough, somebody gonna come through with a check. And the minute that you not getting a check from that particular situation, they mad at you. And I'm gonna say it like this. Dave Chappelle cannot be bought. Okay? That's the one thing. He said whatever the hell he feel like saying. Cannot be bought. And that is something that people are afraid of. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson. Back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Jump. Future Fire You Do. We out.